Hi guys, today I'm going to be making a review video of the app Ember's Couple. If you haven't heard of it, it's a relationship coach app and it uses an AI that was developed by a couples coach who studied psychology at Oxford. It can analyze your communication patterns and you can talk to it, like have live talking sessions with your partner and by yourself, and it kind of coaches you through what to say and kind of acts as a couples therapist. And as a disclaimer, Ember did pay me to make this review video, but they're not influencing what I'm saying at all. All the opinions in the video are entirely my own. And yeah, just to lay out how this video will go, I will basically be going through the app. I'll be showing you how I use the app, and then also my experiences with all the different features. And I'll talk about why I wanted to download the app, how it has changed my relationship, and who I would recommend it for. So my boyfriend and I were really excited to try out this app as a form of like preventative care. We know that there's like no big issue between us or conflict that we want to solve, but we know that there probably is something there that we could talk about and address, and it's good to do that before it becomes a really big issue. And also we kind of believe in this preventative care because there is a lot of trends of like optimizing, your fitness, your nutrition, your sleep out there. So why not apply it to relationships? And that's kind of your relationships and mental health. And that's kind of the stance that like my partner and I have when it comes to these sort of apps and these sort of things. Okay, and now I'm going to take you through the app, and first we'll start off with Daily Sparks. So Daily Sparks is a feature where it's basically just like daily prompts that you can answer with your partner, and every day you get 3 sparks and get a notification when your partner's answer them or responds to yours. So I actually really like this feature. I wasn't expecting it, but I love how there's like a few questions every day that range from like silly, low effort questions to very insightful, high effort questions. And it's pretty fun to just see the questions, and I love getting notification that my boyfriend filled his out and I have to respond to one, or that he filled one that I responded to. There's photos, lists, and just like regular short response. You can see like the sparks that you have today, the sparks that you guys answered already, or ones that you missed from each other. I think this is really fun, and my boyfriend and I are actually long distance, so we love to do sparks like during our long distance calls because it just gives us like a really fun thing to talk about and just like a nice ritual that we have incorporated in our calls. And I also love how the sparks, you can see everything that you and your partner have answered, and you can just take a look at it, and it's like a really nice way to reminisce. The next feature that I'm going to talk about is the text analyze feature. Basically, you can upload up to 10 screenshots, and then Ember will review your messages and come up with suggestions on how you can communicate better with each other. So I actually really like the text analyzer. I like how it gave me clear suggestions and improvements on what I could have texted instead. My boyfriend and I also have different viewpoints on texting. So for me, I like texting a lot, and my boyfriend is like not as big of a texter. Like my texting style, I like text like in all caps. I text like a lot, but he's more of like a says a lot in little words type of thing. Like for example, if I say like his like nice will mean like my like, oh my god, that's so cool, I love it. And that's just something that like my boyfriend and I have learned through being together, but I could honestly see how like a text analyzer like Ember could have provided us a really good objective third-party view that's like, hey, like you guys have different styles, here's how you can kind of like work towards a compromise. But it tells you things that you're doing well, it tells you patterns to improve, and also gives you suggestions of what you actually could have said, and just ends it off with a summary. Okay, the next feature that I've used a lot is the chats feature. Basically, there's like consistently 4 interesting chat prompts that infrequently update, and you can jump straight into a chat conversation with M to talk about it. So for example, I'm going to jump into this goals and growth convo, and it's, if you and Gordon could design a shared vision for your future together, what would feel most exciting to create as a team? So these questions are very interesting and very insightful, And I also like how these chats are personalized to my unique situation. M actually retains your information, your relationship information, so it becomes more personalized. And yeah, for example, my boyfriend and I are long distance, and there have been some chats about like how can we incorporate like rituals into long distance and help make long distance like fun. And with these chats, M really asks a lot of follow-up questions, so it makes you think about the prompt a lot, which is fun. The chat almost feels more like a journaling session to me because I'm just writing and reflecting a lot. Yeah, personally, I'm not like the biggest fan of texting on the phone, but if it was a voice feature or Ember became a desktop app, I would definitely see myself using this like a lot. And you can also see your chat history by clicking on M in the bottom right corner and going to your history. And then you can see pretty much like all of your conversations. You can go to conversations and you can see all of the conversations with that you have, and you can just like jump into them and pick up where you left off, or you can just read it back. I also want to highlight one very fun chat I had with Ember. So the question was, if you had to design a relationship bucket list for this year, what would be at the very top? And yeah, I just had a really fun time running through my ideas that I wanted to have together, and she gave some great advice on like how to like achieve them. For example, one thing I want to do is like speak Chinese more with my boyfriend, and she gave me some good ideas on how to incorporate that with the other things that I asked her. So I like that with there's like very deep conversations you can have, like how to communicate better, but there's also fun, lighthearted questions that I feel like are also very important. Next thing I'm going to talk about is a couple session. This is basically a live talking session with M and your partner. My boyfriend and I really liked it because M asked us some questions that we wouldn't have thought about. We did notice that Ember messed up a little bit on who was talking. She seems to kind of like guess when it's someone's turn rather than recognize by voice, but this is pretty easily like avoided by just stating your name and being like, oh no, like that was actually Lillian who said that, not Gordon, or that was Gordon who said that, not Lillian, as an example of that we've used in our convos. And yeah, even though we went into the couple session with not really a goal in mind of a moment to talk, we got M to kind of like ask us questions and uncover patterns in like our answers and hearing about how we talk about relationship that led to some really interesting insights. And at the end of talking to M, we got a summary which just summarized like what we talked about and all the insights, and this came just as a notification to our phone, and we also get to look at it in your history section with M. And I'm just going to show you what the couple session looks like real quick.
Hi Lillian and Gordon, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Great to hear. Is Gordon with you as well? Or is it just you today? I ask because this is designed as a couples session, so ideally you'd both be here. But if that's not possible right now, we can still continue if you'd prefer.
Gordon's not here with me right now. I am just recording a bit for my Ember review video.
Ah, got it. You're checking this out for a review. That makes sense. Just so you know, I'm Em, your relationship guide here in the Ember app. I'm designed to help couples talk through whatever...
Okay, so that's kind of like what it sounds like, and then afterwards you get a summary in progress screen, and you'll just get a notification and you can check it in the history section of the app. Okay, and another part of the app is the solo session. So this is pretty much like the talking section, except you're just doing it with yourself, and it's also private, so it's not shared with your partner. And I like that with I felt like I could open up more about my relationship. I feel like when you talk about your relationship with your friends or even yourself, there's like some judgment that you're scared about from others, but with it feels pretty easy to talk because it's very non-judgmental, and it asks like very good follow-up questions that really prompt you to reflect. And last time I used it for 30 minutes because I didn't really have something in mind, and I was just chatting with and M was asking me like follow-up questions to kind of gauge where my relationship was at. I'll show another short snippet of the solo session so you can see what it's like, As you can see, it's very similar to the couple session.
Hey Lillian, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. So look, last time we talked about Gordon moving in with you in a few months, ending the long distance, all of that. How's that been sitting with you since we last spoke?
It's been pretty good. We're pretty excited.
That's great. So what do you want to focus on today? What would be useful to talk through?
As you can see, there's the summary in progress, and you can also see it within your history tab of Ember, or you can see it within your activity feed, which is like this bell at the top right of your screen, and you'll also get a notification. So you really won't miss your summary. I also wanted to note that with the talking sessions, both the couples and solo, M will kind of like rabbit hole into a part of the conversation. So like the questions that we start off with M can be very broad and cover lots of topics, but M tends to dive deep into a few topics. So that's just something interesting I noted. I think it's good, and I think this is probably like the standard of, I'm guessing, like relationship coaching and counseling, but just wanted to note that here. I'm also going to talk about the vent analyzer feature. So basically you just vent into the mic, and then M will analyze your vent, and she does a good job in summarizing how you feel and validating your feelings, and also bringing the perspective of how your partner might feel, and then reframing how to think and action items from then. Although sometimes when I'm venting, I don't really want to reframe my thinking. I just kind of want to vent and feel validated, but you know, it is probably better for me to reframe my thinking. I also like that they completely like delete your recording after you upload it, because venting is a very intimate and personal thing. Now I'm going to talk about how this has helped my relationship. So as you may have heard in like the solo session clip, my boyfriend and I are going to be moving in a few months, and like talking to in the solo sessions and couple sessions about this transition has been really exciting and also helpful. And it's made us have conversations that we probably wouldn't have had, but probably would have had later on when we moved in, and maybe they would have been a bit more tense, but now with M, I feel like we're able to talk them through and kind of have the preventative, you know, like solving issues before they come up. Also, my boyfriend and I are long distance right now. Using the app actually helps me feel more connected in my relationship, because I'm talking about my relationship, I'm thinking about ways to, you know, make it better, to grow. So it's been nice to have in the long distance. And I also really like the sparks. Like I said, we've incorporated it in our long distance routine, and that's been really fun to just answer them on calls together. And finally, would I recommend this app? Yes, I would. I feel like being in a healthy relationship is something that you should always be striving for. It's not something that you achieve and you never think about again. It's something that you're always working on with your partner. And I also think this app would be especially helpful for anyone with an anxious attachment style or avoidant attachment style, especially anxious. I used to be an anxious attachment style, and I would have definitely been using like the vent room, the text communication analyzer, and it's one of those things that's like, yes, there's an upfront cost. I guess an analogy is like Opal, the screen time app. Like, yeah, it's $100 a year, but it's also saving me like probably more than 100 hours and helping my mental health and helping me be more productive. So personally, I think it's a good investment. Okay, I'm editing right now, and I want to give a good analogy of what I'm talking about. So you may pay around $800 a year for your gym membership. And even though this is an insignificant amount of money, like you don't mind it because you're getting a lot from the gym, you're getting healthy, you're building community, you have something to do. And mental wellness apps like this, I have a similar feeling towards, in that yes, like maybe I'm paying an insignificant amount of money that is like kind of a lot, but what I'm getting in return is mental clarity, growing as a person. Those effects might not be as substantial or tangible as going to the gym, but they're still there. And I hope you enjoyed watching the video and my review, and please let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to comment them and I will get back to you.